We're trading tomes and banning books. That's right, it's Ex Libris from Renegade Games. This book broker bonanza pits 1 to 4 players against each other in a competition to become the Grand Librarian of the city. Setup begins with the town board placed center and the diviner's hut, known as location number 1, right below it. Then shuffle the remaining location tiles and place them nearby. That's going to be your draw deck. The player who most recently acquired a new book takes the first player token, and then they will shuffle the 12 library tiles, dealing out 2 per player. In reverse order from that first player, everybody gets to choose 1 library tile for themselves and discard 1 that they don't want other players to have. Each librarian then takes the special assistant indicated on their library card and 2 standard assistants in whatever color they would like. These are the main workers of the game and allow players to access special abilities on the location tiles. Next, shuffle the 6 category cards and place 1 face up on the prominent work section of the town board and another on the banned book section. Then deal 1 face down to each player. This secret card is the librarian's focus and will earn that player bonus points for each book of that category they have at the end of the game. Finally, shuffle the 152 book cards, deal 6 to each player, and place the remainder in 2 equal stacks within reach. The goal of Ex Libris is to create the most magnificent book collection by the final round, based on a whole bunch of factors. Now we'll get to scoring in a minute, but for now, let's look at the book cards. The top portion contains all the important info you need. The first letter of the book titles on that card, the numerical order of that card within that letter, and the category icons of the books. The 6 book categories of the game include corrupted codices, fantastical fictions, historic volumes, monster manuals, reference texts, and spells and potions. Memorize them, they're important! As players begin acquiring new books, they're going to shelve them in their play area. To legally shelve, a new book card must be placed orthogonally adjacent to an already shelved card. No diagonals are allowed, people. Additionally, a player's bookshelf can never be more than 3 rows tall. Gameplay for Ex Libris occurs over several rounds, each divided into 4 phases. In the preparation phase, whomever has the first player token reveals location tiles from the deck and sets them face up below the town board, until the number of locations equals the number of players. Now, since the diviner's hut starts the game there, you'll draw 1 less than usual in the first round. If any of those locations have prep instructions on the top right, deal that number of book cards onto the right side of the location tile. If multiple cards are required, splay them vertically so you can see all the cards' info. Next, in the placement phase, starting with the first player, everyone takes a turn placing 1 assistant at a time in an unoccupied space on either one of the public location tiles or their own library tile. Normal and special assistants both fulfill the requirements to activate that tile, but your own special assistant has a special ability that can trigger as well. Each library has a unique special assistant, like this snowman right here. If he's played, other assistants cannot use that same tile this round. When placing an assistant on a tile, the effect will occur either instantly in the case of a green location, or later in the resolution phase if it's a red location. Location tiles may include their name and color, a location number used in the resolution phase, preparation instructions, the effect description, and assistant spaces. Some tiles have assistant spaces available only in 3 and 4 player games. You can tell because they have a 3 or a 4 on them. A player's individual library tile can also be used by assistants to either draw 1 card or shelve 1 card. Starting out, this is the primary way to begin shelving book cards. When all players have run out of assistants to place, the resolution phase begins. Players resolve location tiles in numerical order, starting with the diviner's hut. To resolve a location, players activate any delayed effects first if the tile happens to be red, then discard any cards on that location, and finally return all assistants on the tile to their players. After all locations have been resolved, the cleanup phase begins. My favorite! First, take the location tile below the town board that comes first in numerical order, and it will now become a permanent location, so you'll put it in the permanent location section. These tiles are available for the rest of the game. The diviner's hut will be the first permanent location in each game because it begins out and is the number 1 location. Next, discard the remaining location tiles, and return any assistance on their library tiles back to their players. Before starting a new round with the preparation phase, first, check to see if the number of shelved cards by one player is enough to trigger the endgame. Depending on the number of players in the game, if the card requisite has been reached, then the next round is the final round, after which players will total their points. If not, a new round begins as normal. Once the final round is over, the player with the very best handwriting takes the B7C form and the role of official inspector, who scores for each player based on the following criteria. Alphabetical order. Starting with the top left book and moving right, the inspector will flip the first card not in alphabetical and numerical order, showing an empty shelf section. The category icons on that card no longer count to your final total. However, prior to inspection, players may choose to flip any of their own cards to get a more favorable result. Shelf stability. The largest rectangular group of book cards, even the flipped ones, in each player's area will score 1 point per book card in the rectangle. The shape must be at least 2 cards wide and 2 cards tall, and must include cards on the bottom row of your bookcase. Prominent works. The players who have the most prominent works in their collection receive a bonus point award. First place earns 15 points, second earns 9, and third gets 4. Banned books. Each book in this category scores -1 point, so be real careful how many you load up on your shelf. Categorical variety. Variety is the spice of life, people. Players earn 3 points for every book in their collection of the least populated category. So for example, I've only got 2 monster manuals here, so times that by 3 and that's 6 points for me. Library focus. Finally, players score 2 points per book in their secret category, which they can now reveal. Total up them points, and the highest scorer wins. And that's Ex Libris. I'm Becca Scott, and one time I lived in a library for a whole month. Anyway, you can watch me play this game and other awesome games with my friends on Game the Game, right here on Geek and Sundry. I'll see you there.